In the year 2367, humanity stood on the brink of a new era. For decades, Earth had expanded its reach into the stars, colonizing distant planets and forging alliances with alien species. But peace was fragile, and humanity's place in the galaxy was far from secure. The United Nations Space Command, UNSC, led by Captain Yoon Tae-hyun, worked tirelessly to protect Earth and its colonies from threats both known and unknown. Tae-hyun was a man of calm determination, his sharp features softened by the weight of responsibility he carried. He stood on the bridge of the UNSC horizon, staring at the tactical screens displaying Earth's defenses. His mind raced with possibilities, as reports poured in about increased activity near the edge of human space. Something, or someone, was watching them. Lieutenant Kim Min-soo, a daring pilot known for his quick reflexes and fearless attitude, approached Tae-hyun with an urgent update. "Sir, we detected unusual readings coming from Sector 7, he said, his voice steady but tense. "It's not one of our ships." Tae-hyun frowned. Could it be the Vorthax? Or maybe smugglers? Min-soo shook his head. "No, sir. This is something else. Bigger and faster." Before they could investigate further, alarms blared across the ship. Sensors detected a massive fleet entering Earth's orbit. Ships unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Sleek, angular vessels bristling with weapons filled the skies, their presence impossible to ignore. A message broadcast directly to Earth, cold and mechanical. "This is General Kael'ron of the Zarnath Empire. Surrender your resources and technology or face annihilation." The crew froze, their faces pale with shock. Humanity had encountered alien species before, but none had ever issued such a direct threat. Dr. Choi Eun-soo, a brilliant scientist who specialized in xenotechnology, rushed to the command center. Her eyes scanned the data streaming in from the sensors. "These ships, they're advanced," she murmured. "Far beyond anything we've seen." General Choi Jun-ho, a grizzled veteran with little patience for diplomacy, slammed his fist on the table. "They think we'll just roll over? Let them try to take what's ours." Tae-hyun raised a hand, silencing him. "We don't know enough about them yet. We can't afford to act recklessly." Eun-soo nodded. "He's right. If we fight, without understanding their technology, we'll lose. But if we can find a weakness," she trailed off, her mind already racing with possibilities. As the Zarnath fleet loomed overhead, humanity scrambled to prepare for the worst. Factories worked around the clock to produce weapons and retrofit ships with experimental technology. Engineers collaborated with scientists like Eun-soo, analyzing every scrap of data they could gather about the invaders. Lieutenant Min-soo trained pilots relentlessly, pushing them to master new systems designed to give humanity a fighting chance. Governor Park Ji-un, leader of Earth's Central Council, addressed the population in a recorded message. "We will not surrender," she declared, her voice firm and unwavering. "Humanity has faced challenges before, and we have always risen to meet them. Together, we will defend our home." Despite her words, fear spread like wildfire. Cities emptied as people fled to underground shelters, while military forces mobilized to defend key locations. The Zarnath watched silently, their ships hovering menacingly in orbit. It was clear they were testing humanity, waiting to see how Earth would respond. Dr. Eun-soo worked tirelessly in her lab, studying the Zarnath's energy signatures. Her breakthrough came during a late-night analysis session. "Their ships are connected," she explained to Tae-hyun and his team. "They share power through a centralized grid. If we disrupt one ship, we might destabilize an entire squadron." Tae-hyun's eyes narrowed. "Can we weaponize this?" "It's possible," Eun-soo replied, "but it will take time and a lot of resources." Time was something humanity didn't have. The Zarnath launched their first attack without warning, targeting outposts near Earth's orbit. Lieutenant Min-soo led a desperate defense, piloting his fighter with unmatched skill. His squadron darted through space, firing volleys of energy blasts at the alien ships. Though they managed to destroy several smaller vessels, the larger ones proved nearly indestructible. Back on Earth, the crew monitored the battle with growing dread. The Zarnath's firepower was overwhelming, and losses mounted quickly. Pilots screamed over the comms as their ships were destroyed, leaving debris drifting in the cold vacuum of space. Despite the odds, humanity refused to give up. Captain Taehyun ordered a strategic retreat, knowing they couldn't win a direct confrontation. "We need to regroup," he said firmly. "If we stay and fight now, we'll lose everything." Min-Soo obeyed reluctantly, leading his surviving squadron back to Earth. As they landed, he approached Taehyun, his uniform singed and his face streaked with soot. "We held them off for now," he said hoarsely, "but they're coming back. And next time we won't get lucky." Taehyun nodded, his expression grim. "Then we make our own luck. Eun-Soo, how soon can you finish the weapon?" Eun-Soo hesitated, then met his gaze. "Give me 3 days. Maybe 4. "We don't have that long," General Junho snapped. "They'll hit us again before then." "We'll hold them off," Taehyun replied firmly. "Min-Soo, prepare your squadron for another engagement. Junho, organize ground defenses. Eun-Soo, work around the clock. Everyone has a job to do." As humanity prepared for war, the Zarnath mocked their efforts. General Kael'ron broadcast another message, his tone dripping with disdain. "Your resistance is futile. You are primitive, weak. Surrender now, and we may spare your lives." Taehyun ignored the taunts, focusing instead on the task at hand. Humanity had faced extinction before and survived. They would do so again. As he gazed at the stars from the observation deck, he allowed himself a small measure of hope. The road ahead would be difficult, but humanity had proven time and again that it was capable of rising to any challenge. For now, Earth remained standing. But Captain Taehyun knew one thing for certain. The fight was far from over. The first wave of the Zarnath attack left humanity battered but not defeated. The alien fleet had struck with terrifying efficiency, obliterating outposts and crippling defenses. Cities on Earth's surface trembled as people watched the skies, their hearts heavy with fear and anger. Despite the overwhelming odds, humanity refused to surrender. Every soldier, scientist, and civilian pitched in, determined to fight for their survival. Captain Yoon Taehyun stood on the bridge of the UNSC Horizon, staring at tactical screens displaying the damage caused by the Zarnath. His expression was grim, but resolute. "We can't just sit here and wait for them to strike again," he said to his team. "We need to understand who or what we're dealing with." Dr. Choi Eun-Soo worked tirelessly in her lab, analyzing fragments of Zarnath technology recovered from the wreckage of destroyed ships. Her workspace was cluttered with glowing screens, scattered notes, and pieces of equipment buzzing faintly. Engineers and scientists collaborated around the clock, trying to make sense of the advanced designs. What she discovered shocked her. The Zarnath relied on interconnected energy grids that powered entire squadrons of ships through a centralized network. "These aren't just individual vessels," Eun-Soo explained during a briefing with Taehyun and his team. "They're part of a system. If we disrupt one ship, we might destabilize an entire squadron." Lieutenant Kim Min-Soo, still reeling from the loss of comrades during the initial attack, threw himself into training pilots. His squadron practiced complex maneuvers using simulations based on data gathered during reconnaissance missions. Though guilt weighed heavily on him, he channeled it into determination. "If they come back, we'll be ready," he told his team during one session. "But we need to learn from our mistakes." General Choi Junho, however, grew increasingly impatient. He believed humanity's survival depended on striking first, regardless of the risks. Waiting is suicide, he argued during a meeting with UNSC leaders. "If we don't act now, they'll finish what they started." Taehyun disagreed. "Striking blindly won't help us. First, we need to understand who or what we're dealing with." Junho scoffed. "Understanding won't save us when they launch another attack." Despite the tension between military factions, humanity began mobilizing for survival. Factories once used for consumer goods were repurposed to produce weapons, while engineers worked around the clock to reverse engineer the alien tech. Dr. Eun-Soo made a breakthrough, designing hybrid systems that combined human ingenuity with insights gained from studying the Zarnath's technology. These innovations gave humanity a fighting chance against their unknown enemy. Min-Soo led training exercises for pilots, pushing them to master the new systems. His squadron practiced hit-and-run tactics, simulating battles against the Zarnath ships. Though guilt still lingered over his role in the initial disaster, Min-Su focused on preparation, knowing every second spent training could mean the difference between survival and extinction. Meanwhile, General Junho secretly assembled a task force to hunt down the Zarnatha's command center. Using intelligence provided by Min-Su's reconnaissance missions, he located a potential target, a massive dreadnought serving as a Zarnath flagship. Without authorization, he launched a daring assault, believing it would send a message to their attackers. The operation began under cover of darkness. Junho's forces launched a surprise attack, targeting key structures within the dreadnought. Explosions lit up the void of space as human ships unleashed volleys of energy blasts. The Zarnath responded quickly, deploying swarms of drones and launching counterattacks. Despite their advanced technology, the dreadnought suffered significant damage, with several civilian areas caught in the crossfire. When news of the unauthorized mission reached Taehyun, he was furious. "What have you done?" he demanded, confronting Junho in the command center. "This wasn't sanctioned. You made things worse." Junho crossed his arms defiantly. "I did what needed to be done. They were planning to attack us anyway. Now, they know we won't back down." Before Taehyun could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Sensors detected increased activity near Earth's borders, signaling another attack was imminent. The Zarnath had mobilized a massive fleet, larger and more menacing than ever before. General Kael'ron broadcast a message directly to humanity, his voice cold and unforgiving. "Your aggression confirms our judgment. Prepare to face annihilation." Panic swept across the globe as people braced for the inevitable. Military forces scrambled to deploy ships, knowing they were outnumbered and outgunned. The battle began in orbit, with human ships clashing against the sleek, angular vessels of the Zarnath. Min-Su led his squadron into fray, weaving through enemy fire with unmatched skill. The hybrid ships performed admirably, their weapons cutting through Zarnath shields and damaging their hulls. But the aliens' numbers were overwhelming, and losses mounted quickly. Pilots screamed over the comms as their ships were destroyed, leaving debris drifting in the cold vacuum of space. Back on Earth, Dr. Un-Su monitored the battle from the command center, her fingers flying across keyboards as she analyzed data and rerouted energy to critical systems. Her heart raced as she watched the odds tilt against humanity. "We're losing," she whispered to Taehyun, who stood beside her, his jaw clenched tightly. "There has to be something we can do," Taehyun replied, his voice heavy with desperation. "We can't give up now." Un-Su's eyes widened as inspiration struck. She remembered the alien technology, the same energy signatures that powered the Zarnatha's interconnected grids. If they could replicate its frequency, they might be able to disrupt the Zarnatha's systems. "I have an idea," she said urgently, "but it's risky. If we overload our reactors using the same energy pattern as the Zarnath, we might be able to neutralize their fleet. It could work, but it might also destroy us in the process." Taehyun hesitated, weighing the options. Time was running out, and the Zarnath were closing in on Earth's atmosphere. "Do it," he said finally. "We don't have a choice." Un-Su relayed the plan to Min-Su, who coordinated the remaining ships into position. The hybrid fleet formed a tight formation around Earth, their reactors charging to critical levels. As the Zarnath fleet prepared for a final assault, the humans unleashed their payload, a massive burst of energy that rippled through space like a shockwave. The effect was immediate. Zarnath ships faltered, their shields collapsing and weapon systems failing. The commander's flagship staggered under the strain, retreating deeper into space as the surviving vessels followed suit. Cheers erupted in the command center as the threat subsided. For now, Taehyun sank into a chair, relief washing over him. "We did it," he murmured. "But at what cost?" The victory came at a heavy price. Thousands of lives had been lost, and much of Earth's infrastructure lay in ruins. Satellites were destroyed, cities damaged, and resources depleted. Yet, amidst the devastation, there was a glimmer of hope. Humanity had proven it could stand against even the most advanced foes, if only barely. Min-Su returned to base, his uniform singed and his face streaked with soot. He approached Taehyun and Un-Su, his voice hoarse but steady. "We survived," he said. "But this isn't over. They'll come back." Taehyun nodded, his expression somber. They will. And when they do, we need to be ready. Eun-Soo stared at the screens displaying the remnants of the battle, her mind racing with possibilities. Maybe next time, we won't have to fight alone. If we can prove ourselves to them and to each other, we might still earn their respect. For now, humanity had bought itself time. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, but Earth remained standing. As Taehyun gazed at the stars, he knew one thing for certain. Humanity's journey into the cosmos had only just begun. The victory over the Zarnith fleet was fleeting, leaving Earth battered but alive. The skies, once filled with a hum of alien ships and their attacks, were now eerily silent. Humanity had survived its first major confrontation with an extraterrestrial force, but the cost was staggering. Cities lay in ruins, their streets deserted and buildings reduced to rubble. Power grids flickered, struggling to provide even basic electricity to survivors huddled in underground shelters. The psychological toll was just as heavy. Fear and grief hung over the population like a dark cloud. Captain Yoon Tae-hyun stood on the observation deck of the UNSC horizon, gazing at the stars. His mind replayed the events of the past weeks, the devastating attack on Earth's outposts, the unauthorized assault by General Choi Jun-ho, and the desperate gamble that saved humanity from annihilation. Each decision had been a gamble, each action a lesson learned the hard way. He clenched his fists tightly, feeling the weight of leadership pressing down on him. "We're alive," he muttered under his breath. But for how long? Dr. Choi Eun-Soo worked tirelessly in her lab, analyzing data from a battle. Her hybrid technology had proven effective against the Zarnith, but she knew it was only a temporary solution. The aliens' retreat wasn't a sign of defeat. It was a tactical withdrawal. They would return stronger and angrier than before. Eun-Soo poured all her energy into improving the hybrid systems, determined to give humanity a fighting chance when that day came. Lieutenant Kim Min-soo, still haunted by guilt over his role in the initial disaster, threw himself into training pilots. His squadron had taken heavy losses during the battle, and every casualty weighed heavily on him. But he refused to let despair consume him. Instead, he channeled his emotions into preparation, drilling his team relentlessly. "We can't afford to make mistakes next time," he told them during one session. "If they come back, we need to be ready." General Choi Jun-ho, however, remained unrepentant about his actions. Though officially reprimanded for launching the unauthorized attack on the Zarnith dreadnought, he continued to argue that humanity needed to take bold steps to survive. "They see us as weak," he said during a meeting with UNSC leaders. "If we don't show them we're willing to fight, they'll crush us without hesitation." Taehyun disagreed. "Fighting alone won't save us. We need to find a way to communicate with them, to show them we're not their enemies." Jun-ho scoffed. "And if they refuse to listen? What then?" "Then we adapt," Taehyun replied firmly. "We learn from our mistakes and prepare for whatever comes next." Despite the lingering tension between military factions, humanity began rebuilding. Engineers repaired damaged infrastructure, while scientists worked to restore power grids using insights gained from Eun-Soo's research. Factories repurposed materials salvaged from destroyed ships to build new vessels, ensuring Earth's defenses were stronger than ever. Civilians pitched in wherever they could, volunteering to clear debris or tend to the wounded. Slowly, life began to stabilize. Eun-Soo made a breakthrough in her lab, uncovering a critical weakness in the Zarnith's interconnected energy grids. By replicating the frequency of the energy signatures they use for their weapons, she discovered a way to disrupt their systems. The challenge was scaling the technology to affect entire fleets rather than individual ships. She shared her findings with Taehyun, who immediately authorized further testing. "This could be our edge," Eun-Soo explained, her eyes alight with determination. "If we can deploy this on a larger scale, we might stand a real chance against them." Taehyun nodded. "Do whatever it takes. Time isn't on our side." As weeks passed, the hybrid fleet grew stronger, equipped with upgraded weapons and enhanced shielding. Pilots trained extensively, mastering complex maneuvers designed to outsmart the Zarnith. Morale improved slightly, bolstered by the knowledge that humanity had already faced extinction and survived. But peace was fragile. Reports came in of increased Zarnith activity near Earth's borders, signaling another attack was imminent. Sensors detected massive ships assembling in deep space, their designs more menacing than ever before. A Zarnath commander broadcast a message directly to humanity, his voice cold and resolute. Your defiance will end. Prepare to face judgment. Taehyun called an emergency meeting with his team, including Un-Soo and Min-Soo. This is it, he said grimly. They're coming back, and they're bringing everything they've got. We need to hold the line at any cost. Un-Soo proposed a daring plan, using Earth's moon as a staging ground for a counterattack. By positioning hybrid ships behind the lunar surface, they could ambush the Zarnath fleet as it approached. The strategy relied on precision timing and flawless execution, but offered the best chance of turning the tide. Min-Soo volunteered to lead the operation, knowing the risks involved. If this works, it could buy us the time we need, he said. If it doesn't, well, we'll go down fighting. The plan was set into motion. As the Zarnath fleet descended upon Earth, the hybrid ships launched from their hiding spots, unleashing devastating volleys of energy blasts. The ambush caught the aliens off guard, forcing them to divert resources to defend against the unexpected assault. Min-Soo led a squadron with unmatched skill, targeting key vessels and creating chaos within the enemy ranks. Back on Earth, Un-Soo activated the upgraded hybrid system, amplifying the energy output to disrupt the Zarnath's interconnected grids. The effect was immediate. Ships faltered, their coordinated attacks failing as they struggled to maintain cohesion. The commander's flagship staggered under the strain, retreating deeper into space as the surviving vessels followed suit. When the dust settled, Earth remained standing. The victory was celebrated cautiously, as everyone knew the war was far from over. Taehyun addressed the crew, his voice steady but tinged with exhaustion. We bought ourselves time, but that's all. They'll come back, and next time, we need be ready. Un-Soo reflected on the battle, her mind racing with possibilities. Maybe there's still hope for diplomacy, she said softly. If we can prove we're capable of change, maybe they'll see us differently. Min-Soo nodded, though doubt lingered in his eyes. Let's hope so, because if they don't, we're going to need more than just upgrades to survive. As the galaxy loomed large and uncertain, humanity took stock of its resilience. They had faced destruction and fought back, not perfectly, but with courage and ingenuity. For now, Earth endured, battered but unbroken, and as Taehyun gazed at the stars, he allowed himself a small measure of hope. The road ahead was long and fraught with challenges, but humanity had shown it was capable of rising to meet them. The aftermath of the second battle left Earth scarred but defiant. The Zarnath had retreated, their fleet battered and broken, but everyone knew it was only a matter of time before they returned. Humanity had proven it could fight back, but the cost of survival was heavy. Cities lay in ruins, resources were stretched thin, and the population lived in constant fear of another attack. Captain Yoon Taehyun understood that simply holding the line wasn't enough. If humanity wanted to survive and thrive, they needed a plan that went beyond brute force. Dr. Choi Un-Soo worked tirelessly in her lab, analyzing data from the battles and refining the hybrid technology that had saved Earth twice. Her breakthroughs revealed something unexpected. The Zarnath's energy systems weren't just weapons. They were also tools for sustaining their empire. The alien ships that had devastated Earth's outposts relied on interconnected grids similar to those used by the Zarnath to power their civilization. This discovery gave Un-Soo an idea. If we can replicate their energy patterns, she explained to Taehyun, we might be able to disrupt their systems, or even repair what we've damaged. Taehyun nodded thoughtfully. It's risky. They'll protect their technology at all costs. But if it works, it could save us. Lieutenant Kim Min-Soo, still grappling with guilt over his role in the initial disaster, threw himself into preparing for a final assault. He trained pilots to escort a strike team deep into enemy territory, knowing that any misstep could reignite hostilities. This isn't about revenge anymore, he told his squadron during a briefing. It's about proving we're better than the mistakes we've made. General Choi Jun-ho, however, remained skeptical. They won't give up their secrets without a fight, he argued during a meeting with UNSC leaders. You're talking about walking into a death trap. Because we're giving them a reason to, Taehyun replied firmly. We're showing them we're not just survivors. We're fighters. If we don't try, we'll never know. With preparations complete, Taehyun led the strike team aboard the UNSC Horizon, accompanied by Eun-soo and Min-soo. Their destination was the Zarnath homeworld, a planet shrouded in mystery and protected by layers of defenses. As they approached, a Zarnath commander broadcast a message, cold and unwelcoming. "You dare return? What do you want now?" Taehyun stepped forward, activating the external speakers. "We've come to end this, to stop the killing and prove we're worthy of peace." There was a long pause before the commander responded. "Prove it." Eun-soo presented the upgraded hybrid system, designed to disrupt the Zarnath's energy grids and weaken their coordination. She explained how it worked, emphasizing humanity's willingness to learn and adapt. The Zarnath listened silently, their glowing eyes unreadable. Finally, they gestured for the humans to follow them to the heart of their capital city. Inside, the team marveled at the intricate designs and advanced technology surrounding them. Massive structures buzzed with activity as smaller Zarnath performed tasks with precision and efficiency. Eun-soo installed the hybrid system, her hands steady despite the weight of the moment. When she activated it, the room lit up and the Zarnath faltered, their coordinated movements breaking down. The commander watched closely, his expression softening slightly. "You have shown ingenuity," he admitted, "but trust is earned through actions, not words." "We understand," Taehyun replied, "and we're ready to take that step together." A younger Zarnath, who had admired humanity's resilience, spoke up. "Perhaps this is a chance for both our species to grow, to move beyond judgment and embrace cooperation." The commander considered his words, then turned to Taehyun. "Very well. We will test your commitment. Work with us to restore balance, not just here, but across the galaxy." Over the following months, humanity and the Zarnath forged an uneasy alliance. Engineers collaborated to rebuild damaged infrastructure, while scientists shared knowledge and insights. Pilots like Min-soo trained alongside Zarnath warriors, learning new strategies and tactics. Slowly, trust began to grow, built on mutual respect and shared goals. Back on Earth, cities flourished once again, powered by clean energy derived from the hybrid technology. Forests regrew, oceans cleared, and skies brightened. Humanity stepped into a new era of exploration, joining the Zarnath in mapping uncharted territories and discovering wonders that inspired awe. Dr. Eun-soo reflected on how far they'd come, standing in her lab surrounded by glowing screens and humming machines. "We started as strangers," she said softly. "Now we're partners." Captain Taehyun shared her sentiment, gazing at the stars from the observation deck. The road ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges yet unseen. But for the first time in a long time, humanity faced a future with hope rather than fear. Together with the Zarnath, they had taken the first steps toward a brighter tomorrow, a tomorrow shaped not by division, but by unity. As the starship soared through the cosmos, leaving Earth behind but carrying its hopes and dreams, Taehyun knew one thing for certain. The future was theirs to shape. The alliance between humanity and the Zarnath marked a new chapter in Earth's history. What had begun as a war of survival transformed into an opportunity for growth, cooperation, and redemption. The scars of the past remained, ruined cities, lost lives, and lingering fears. But humanity refused to let those wounds define them. Instead, they focused on building a future where peace and unity could thrive. Captain Yoon Taehyun stood on the observation deck of the UNSC Horizon, gazing at the stars. His mind replayed the journey that had brought humanity this far. The devastating attack on Earth's outposts, the reckless assaults led by General Choi Junho, and the desperate gambits that had saved Earth not once, but twice. Each moment had been a lesson, each decision a step toward understanding their place in the galaxy. Now, as he looked out at the vast expanse of space, he felt a sense of pride, not just in humanity's resilience, but in its capacity to change. Dr. Choi Eun-soo continued her work, now collaborating openly with Zarnath scientists. Together, they pushed the boundaries of technology, combining human ingenuity with alien expertise. Their efforts led to breakthroughs that benefited both species. Clean energy systems powered entire planets. Advanced medical treatments cured diseases once thought incurable, and terraforming projects restored barren worlds to life. Un-Su marveled at how much they had achieved in such a short time. "We're not just repairing what was broken," she said during a meeting with Tae-hyun. "We're creating something new, something better." Lieutenant Kim Min-soo, who had once struggled with guilt over his role in the initial disaster, found purpose in his new role as a bridge between humanity and the Zarnath. He trained alongside alien pilots, learning their strategies and teaching them about human tactics. Over time, friendships formed, built on shared experiences and mutual respect. Min-soo often reflected on how far they had come. "We started as enemies," he told Tae-hyun one evening. "Now we're allies. Who would have thought?" General Choi Jun-ho, though initially resistant to the alliance, eventually came to see its value. His aggressive stance softened as he witnessed the benefits of cooperation firsthand. Though he still believed in the importance of strength and vigilance, he acknowledged that diplomacy and collaboration were equally vital. "I was wrong," he admitted during a briefing. "Strength isn't just about weapons. It's about working together to protect what matters." As months turned into years, Earth flourished. Cities rose from the ashes, powered by clean energy and sustained by advanced technologies. Forests regrew, oceans teemed with life, and skies cleared of pollution. Humanity stepped onto the galactic stage, no longer as victims or aggressors, but as defenders of freedom and progress. Pilots like Min-soo ventured into deep space, mapping uncharted territories and forging alliances with other civilizations threatened by remnants of the Zarnath's old empire. When the Zarnath's former leaders, a faction determined to reclaim their dominance, launched a final assault, humanity stood ready. Using upgraded hybrid ships and advanced strategies, they fought alongside their former enemies, driving the invaders back decisively. The commander, who had once viewed humanity as primitive, defected to join their cause, bringing valuable intel about the Empire's weaknesses. Together, they dismantled the oppressive regime, ensuring peace across the galaxy. In the aftermath of the victory, Captain Tae-hyun addressed the survivors of both species. "Today, we prove that unity is stronger than division," he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "We've taken the first steps toward a brighter future, one where we stand together not as separate beings, but as one people." Dr. Un-soo reflected on the journey, standing in her lab surrounded by glowing screens and humming machines. "We started as strangers," she said softly. "Now we're partners in every sense of the word." Lieutenant Min-soo nodded, his expression thoughtful but resolute. "And if anyone tries to take that away from us, they'll have to go through all of us." As Earth looked to the stars, Tae-hyun allowed himself a small measure of hope. The road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but humanity had shown it was capable of rising to meet them. They had awoken their vengeance and transformed it into something greater, a force for unity, resilience, and hope. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, but humanity no longer faced it alone. Together with their allies, they forged a coalition dedicated to protecting freedom and fostering progress. As the starship soared through the cosmos, leaving Earth behind but carrying its hopes and dreams, Tae-hyun knew one thing for certain. The future was theirs to shape,